What's poppin', y'all? Cenat's fashion journey it's like the gift or the curse that keeps on cursing. Because one of the things that he would show is a video clip of a wall he's put up for himself to motivate himself when it comes to his Vivette brand.
The power to embrace hate. Embracing hate, you have to find ways to weaponize it. And I used to struggle with like caring about what people thought. So I got a hate wall of all the hate that I received to motivate me even more. Embrace my flaws and find ways, to make amazing things. They don't believe until you make it cool. It is currently February 12th at 3:40.
So this wall that he has, well, the first thing that had me dying was somebody quoted and said he spent like $500 on black ink instead of switching to light mode. And I was going to say that somebody else wrote this, but what do you expect from some guy that was just learning to read last summer? Or not even last summer, because I think he started doing the whole journal and making those vlogs towards the end of last year. Like, dude, the guy's just starting to, you think he's going to think, okay, well, let me turn it back into light mode because that prints better because the paper is white. He's not thinking that. And also, I think that's low-key like a little flex. He's like, yeah, I spent ink. That's nothing to me. So if he did it intentionally, I do like that. But you've got different comments on here, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And I will say that there are people that do this. Like, I personally know people that have done this because what usually happens is somebody's doing a pivot. So somebody's changing up their content, like a huge change. Like here, Cenat's damn near quitting, quote unquote, disappears for a long time out of entertainment and is doing something completely new like fashion. So let's say somebody was, I don't know, like a Fortnite, let's just say a Roblox YouTuber or something. And then he wants to become, I don't even know what else. Well, let's just say a builder, right? In real life. And then and make content around that. People say, man, go back to that Roblox. And they will save those. Like I've known somebody that does this, not at Roblox and building, but a similar transition. And they will use that to motivate them, but they're not making that known to the public. Like that's the worst thing you could possibly make it known to the public. They hide it till today, which they should. And it's best to show this. This is the thing. I think Cenat, he's just trying to speed up the process too much. I think he is that Gen Z. Well, how old is Kai? He's like, what, 25? 24? Does he count as Gen Z? I don't know. Does 2001? I mean, does 1999 count as Gen Z? I don't even really know. But anyway, he's just trying to accelerate the process. Because if he showed this after Vivette, I don't know, had a huge success, then it's cool. It's like, damn, man, Cenat, son, those guys. But before anything has even dropped, like we're getting so much information, it's just making it worse. And he would also go on to have this conversation, like somewhat of a podcast, which I'm about halfway through. I'm definitely going to watch the rest of it because I do think like the way that Cenat's mind works content-wise is brilliant. But I think how proficient he is in that domain is... he's being a little bit too cocky. He's not demonstrating cockiness outwardly. He's not showing it. But I think mentally he's a little bit too cocky in what he can accomplish in fashion in such a short span of time because of how good he is at content. But he talked about how upset he was getting and how anxious he was getting from y'all's hate comments.
But I've never in my life would have thought the day would come where I'll read it and make them clown it.
Yeah.
Like that shit is crazy as. So I had to turn off the noise. I'm like, yeah, it's so crazy to where I can scroll the internet with low anxiety of seeing something that somebody gonna say mean to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, that. I'm scrolling it. I'm like, one post can tweak my emotion in real time. Oh, this is too dangerous.
So here, him talking about one post can tweak his emotion. Nobody is immune to this. This is why certain people that they would look up their name on Twitter X. I remember Ian Connor used to do this all the time. I don't know if he still does. Adam22 used to do this all the time. I don't know if he still does. But there are a couple of people that will just look up their name and see what people are saying about them. And this is 100% the worst thing you could ever do. Now, I don't think Kai Cenat is doing this. The unfortunate part is that Kai Cenat is so viral and so big and so many people are talking about him that even if he doesn't look at his notifications, even if he doesn't read his replies, if he just scrolls his home feed, he's going to see himself posted and there's going to be comments about him. He might just see like somebody talking about him on his feed, because especially now that it's a For You feed, and that's something that you can't hide from unless he completely digs, like ostrich mode, digs his head in the sand and doesn't even look at social media altogether, which you can't expect him to do that. But other people that seek it, like me, nobody's talking about me. I'm C tier. I always say that. But for me, I have never had the urge to search out what people are saying about me. That's so unhealthy for people to do, because you start to take into, it's not you take into consideration, you're like, damn, that's kind of cool. Because if there's, especially in Kai's case, there's thousands of things being said about you. And I remember I gave this, not advice, but especially for rappers and artists, like people like Okoye Ray, people that had hate phases. When they drop, they should not be reading all the comments. Someone on their team should read all of the comments and then give them a general sentiment, because you're getting it from one person. So if one person says, yo, people aren't feeling this, you're like, okay, like, let me see what I can do about it. And then they'll give you maybe actual feedback instead of just pure hate. So they're softening the blow and they're giving you the honest opinion from the general public, and you're getting it from one person. Because that's the thing with like a Kai Cenat or anybody. They can take one hate comment, but when they see hundreds, that's when you're like, damn, what the hell? And this is the thing. It's a silent majority of people that like Kai Cenat and support him. The ones that actually are going to buy his stuff, they're not saying I love Kai Cenat every single day. They're just quietly waiting for him to come back and stream. And like, there's still people subscribed, paying monthly to Kai Cenat. So the fact that those people, they're the ones that matter, not the ones that are hating. But yeah, that's why I think that's the best approach for anybody, is you just have one person give you the temperature check. And that's how you keep your sanity. But he would also get criticized by XQC when it comes to the fashion stuff and the hate wall.
And the problem with Kai is that I feel like he thinks that the hate comes from a place of reason when it doesn't. People are clowning him for things that he shouldn't be clowned about because of other factors, like him having success, him having going to great heights, him making a lot of money, him whatever, right? And him getting away with it, as in like kind of just gaining all that, and then they don't have much to go on, so they use a bunch of other bullshit to get at him. It is what it is. I mean, it's the oldest tactic in the book, guys. People these are the creators. If you're a big creator or whatever, your audience is children. Your audience is young, and all you do is loud is good, loud is funny. You're a dumb, blah, blah, blah. They always find some way of, but it's not logical. It's not reasonable. It's just bull. So if you get hated for things that are reasonable, yeah, it's annoying, right? But a lot of it is unreasonable, so why would you care? You shouldn't care about things that are unreasonable.
This is partially true. A lot of people that are hating on Kai Cenat are just hating on him because he's big. Once you get big enough, people just hate to hate. They just hate to take you down. Like Mr. Beast started getting hate, dog. Like people are talking about, oh no, Mr. Beast, he's, doing some, I don't even know, dog. They're creating conspiracy theories about Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast's whole career is doing what? Giving money out. Even Steve Will Do It, for instance, who I have been critical of in the way that, he's handled like relationships with Nelk. I think he's completely wrong in that case. But it's really hard to talk trash about Steve Will Do It. But he's so big, people do. And all Steve Will Do It does is give away money. I mean, you could say like, yeah, he's promoting gambling and all that. And that's fair enough too. Like Aiden Ross, for instance, he has said controversial things. So people are reacting to him in that manner. That's fair enough, actually. I do think he gets somewhat fair criticism. Like he's not completely clean where you're like, damn, I can't believe people hate on that guy. But Kai Cenat, people are hating on the Vivette fashion stuff. So I do think there is reason for people to hate on this, because they're like, well, you're not really, we don't see you as a fashion guy. You stopped the streaming stuff. You're doing all this performatives. Like you just started in October, and what you're releasing is, we haven't even seen anything release yet. And you're just showing us and showing us. It's kind of like somebody telling you, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And you check in on them and they're like, yeah, I'm going to do this? It's been 3 months, and you just kind of get annoyed and frustrated, and you're like, dog, you haven't even started. And I'm not saying Kai Cenat hasn't started, but this is one of those things that you do behind the scenes and you show later. And I'll give you guys a good example of somebody that gives some pretty good feedback, which is Sneeko in this scenario.
At first, I thought it was going to be some, I would like people to try to transcend and make good art, but based off what I've seen, bro, yeah, go back to the streaming, bro. Go back to Twitch. Go back to Twitch. You're trying to be Ye. Yeah. Everybody wants to be Ye till Ye walks in. Also, isn't it unfortunate, too? Not unfortunate because Ye apologized and, he felt like he was spreading hate in the world. But the timing is not on his side. Like, now the world is seeing how so many anti-Semitic conspiracy theories are true. And Ye apologizes right before the world realizes how much America is controlled by Jewish supremacy. It's like the timing is just not.
I do think this is a little bit of hater energy where he's like, oh, just put the stream in the bag, pretty much. I do think that Kai Cenat is oversharing. It's like what A$AP Rocky said. He should have listened to A$AP Rocky's advice, which is, listen, man, just don't show us the process. Just show us the end result, and then people will care about the process if the end result sucks. But the thing is, the more Kai Cenat is sharing, the more of a negative predisposition we have to whatever he's going to drop. So even if Kai Cenat drops some fire, which it's always subjective when it comes to fashion, people already want to hate on it. If he had just disappeared, didn't talk about this whatsoever, came back and then dropped, and it was like, hey, here's the drop, guys, and lets the conversation come out through there, I think there would be a lot less hate. Like, some people would say it's trash, but an overwhelming I would say maybe at least 30%. So like, let's say there's 33, 33, 33. 33% we're going to buy it regardless because they're Kai Cenat fans and they think whatever he does is cool. 33% are Kai Cenat haters that are going to see this and they're just going to hate on it. They would never like it just because it came from Kai Cenat. And 33%, which is where I would fall in, is somebody that's like, this is interesting. And we're just going to come into it unbiased and be like, okay, this looks pretty cool. Damn, this is what he's been working on that whole time. Damn, that's actually pretty impressive. But that 33% in the middle that could have gone either way and just judged it based off of the quality of the product, we're being moved to the hater avenue, to the hater side of things because of what he keeps putting out. Because the more we learn, I'm learning like, yo, you've only been in this since October. Whereas if he had never spoke on it and just dropped and it was good quality, we would assume that, oh, damn, he's been working behind the scenes on this for years. We would just make that assumption. But we can't make that positive assumption about his clothing now because of what we're learning. And Sneeko's somebody who he's made clothes, like not just merch, but he's made like cut and sew pieces and things like that. But most people don't know about it. Like, it's really only his fans, and he's not trying to make it this huge thing. And that way you can kind of like slowly grow it and grow like a tight fan base for it, and then maybe eventually like it gets big. Who knows if he decides to focus on it. But the haters aren't reaching him because they don't know about his clothing or that he even makes clothing. You're probably like, oh damn, I didn't know that guy makes clothing. Oh, well, not consistently, but he does, and that's a good thing that you don't know that. The problem is we all know Kai Cenat makes clothing now, and while it may be good for his sales, I just don't see it turning out well. And the part where he talks about, yeah, everybody wants to be Ye. Well, Ye throughout like I said, Ye put in the work. Ye interned. Ye did this for years and years in between making albums. Kai is trying to speed run the process. And I do think Kai is trying to be this Ye figure, and it's... I don't know how to say it without sounding like a hater. I just don't see it working. You cannot speedrun stuff like this. You have to take your, like Virgil, right? Virgil had massive success, but Virgil took a decade to get to that success. It took him a very long time. And just because you have distribution, which is a huge audience that's probably going to consistently buy your stuff, that doesn't mean that it's going to spread and people are going to respect it and like it in the way that people did for a Ye or a Virgil when it came to Off-White. Because like Pyrex wasn't really like, it was kind of more hyped stuff. And it wasn't until like Off-White where people were like, damn, this is crazy. That's the end of that fashion section. So if that's all you cared about, you can go. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this section where he talks about why he started streaming.
I always like cameras, but I came into live stream because I had a rough upbringing and my escape was YouTube. My escape was gaming. My escape was content creators, right? Just watch videos all day, like escaping reality.
No, I mean, what you
and
built
then like
is cool.
Yeah, and
I've been following it from I mean, not following it, but like I would see it on the internet from like you streaming in your room
Yeah.
to like you doing these crazy streams and like making these like cool short little commercials. That have actual production value.
Yeah, and I'm a part of all of that. Like
Yeah.
I'm the one behind the scenes putting that all together. So it's like I also once was like, damn, bro, I wanna like when that was my escape. So when I started streaming, I came into the fact of knowing that like there's somebody out there who's gonna watch your stream that needs it as an escape from their reality.
This, I really hated the way that this was captioned because it was captioned. I'm not even going to show the account. I'm going to block the account. But it says, Cenat reveals in a newly released interview in Paris that he started streaming simply because he was broke and needed to get out of the hood. And then it shows a fake number of 50 million a month. But really, what he talks about in this clip is what I showed you. And he started, this guy was making content from before he even thought about money. He was like 9 years old, 10 years old. But when you see a Cenat, you see where Cenat grew up, which was in the Bronx. And John Monopoly, who is Ye's manager, when Cenat was being honest about the Ye Vultures clothes not fitting him, he's like, come on, guys, this doesn't even fit me. And the guy, John Monopoly, kind of tried to press him. And he's like, yo, I didn't know this guy was from the Bronx. He was from my same hood, this and that. And some people are like, yeah, I never saw Cenat outside like that in the hood. That's a positive thing. So Cenat here is saying, like, Cenat could have gotten into a lot of trouble. He could have gone through a lot of different paths. And we see him as the kid that was pulling up to a Roman Atwood and Fousey show because YouTube saved him from being outside. Like, it didn't cost him anything to just watch these YouTubers, and he is that for who knows how many people. But then I feel like if this guy, if Luca here responded to him properly, he'd be like, well, you've been leaving these people hanging for 8 months. But I think in Cenat's mind, he's like, yo, I put on all of these other guys underneath me so that they can be the ones that my fans watch. So I'm not leaving them hanging with, you know, nobody that's going to keep them entertained and keep them out of the BS. That's the most important part. And I don't think people give him enough credit for that because entertainers, it's like, oh yeah, you got a kid audience. It's like, yeah, but Cenat is one of the best people you could possibly have had your kids watching. All right, let's be real here. The guy didn't take a gambling deal. The guy doesn't do any like drugs. The guy doesn't drink on stream. The guy doesn't, like, maybe you have one stream of him doing something like that, which is legal for him. But the guy's a great influence. He's a really positive guy. He's a happy guy, and that's got to be draining. But I think he's accomplished all that there is to accomplish in streaming. And it would have been really cool if he just stayed silent and his comeback stream was some sort of a fashion show. And we just didn't know as much as we do now. I just wish he would hide more. That's really it. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.